Well, hello there, and good morning, and welcome to my little arty corner of the internet. It's Friday the 29th of October. I cannot believe that October is nearly over. I'm going to have such a busy month next month, getting all the sketches and inked in versions of the colouring templates for adorable dogs done. But I'm determined that Inktober is going to be completed, the Inktober Tangles. It's day 29, so today it's a pattern by Debbie New, who's a CZT from Singapore, I think I read somewhere, and it's tree leaf. Now this has got an unusual way of constructing it. It's not the way that I would necessarily do it myself, but let's go with the kind of official way. I'm going to start off by just putting a curve in pencil, just to guide the direction in which I want this to go. And essentially it's called tree leaf even, because you start, I'm putting dashed lines in because these become T's, which is essentially the branch and the stem of the leaf. So there we go. And then on the other side of the branch, they're staggered. So let me have a look, because I want to create a branch. So this is going to be a slightly longer bit of branch there. And I'm trying to get them so they're about halfway through the others ish, and I'll take that one off and that one there, and then just put the T's in, the line of the T's. And in the pattern these gaps are left as gaps from what I can see, which is fine, because I've noticed that if you shade along this line, this gap just becomes part of the branch. It's sort of like it becomes part of that pattern, which is fine by me, to be honest. Okay, so let me have a look. What can I do with these? I don't want just straight lines here for my leaves. I want some volume to my stems. See, if I was drawing this without watching Zen Linnea's video or looking all that carefully at the step out, I'd have put these here because that feels more natural to me and more the way that I draw branches in templates and other work. In fact, I wouldn't have left the gaps. I'd have just drawn, parallel lines. And I am going to turn this into the end of a branch like that, like it's been torn off a bit. Okay, and then you add leaves. Oh my goodness, so many leaves to choose from. Anything would work here, but let me start with just going to put the bottom in there, and I'll put a little upside down C or an upside down U on the tops of these, and let's do the the kind of tangle that everybody loves to add as a leaf, it seems, or nearly everybody, which is essentially a heart-shaped leaf. I'm drawing it upside down, but you could equally happily turn your paper book, sketchbook around, so you can draw it the right way up if you prefer. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Dear goodness. Oh, and again, sorry. Oh, real videos, eh? And then simply because I find this embellishment a really cute one. Makes it look like one edge of the leaf has curled over on itself. I quite like that. So we've got this, As I said, the original pattern, these spaces can be left, but I also think they'd be fun to be filled like this, just to give it a more bushy look for the leaves, isn't it? Let's do it that way. That's a bit of a clunky one, but it works. And that just fills those spaces in nicely. It looks like a thorn until you've put the leaf on it. But that works quite nicely, I think. Just have the bottom of the leaf there. So that's one way of doing it. Another leaf, I mean, if you just think about leaves in nature and all of the shapes of them, particularly fond of three-lobed leaves. And of course, leaves are really an appropriate thing to draw. It is autumn here in the Northern Hemisphere, and the world is changing colour. Oh, that one's more like a club from a set of playing cards. So let's do that as a leaf pattern. After all, it's whatever you want to make it. That's the beauty of things like this. Okay, do the more usual kinds of leaf as well. And I do like to pop little dots there. I do like, excuse me a mo. Oh dear. Oh gosh. Straight lines are great and can really separate space on the leaf. So you've got distinct areas where you can add colour or pattern, especially if you're drawing these big. But sometimes it's that more subtle, the little dots, that give that hint of space. So we've got these, and I was thinking that you often get, especially at this time of year, berries or seeds mixed in with them. So instead of leaves behind these, I'm going to put some berries, and of course different colour. Oh, excuse me. Oh gosh, goddamn allergies. Right then, so I've got berries like this, but I could also have a sprig of them peeking out. Not sure if that works well, but it's nice to have a bunch of berries. Berry bunch. Came in my mind as I said that. There was a television programme years and years ago, wasn't there, called The Brady Bunch. And so the Brady Bunch, the berry bunch. There we are, got berries hiding behind that leaf. So that's another way of doing that. I suppose these sections, could leave them like this. Zen Linnea, whose name I can't remember, put dots between them just to break that space up or to make it more of a pattern. You could put little curves in, little points out. There's all kinds of things that could be done. So that is the essence of tree leaf. I suppose shading and colouring is what brings these to life. So I'll dig out that, and I'll dig out one one of these. Got white jelly roll there. So these are, I keep mentioning these because I know that, like me, the shininess of graphite is a distraction. And these are from Faber-Castell. They're Pitt Graphite Matte pencils. You can buy them singly, you know, in whatever hardness you like. Or you can buy them in a set. I got them in a set simply because I, you know, I didn't know which particular hardness I'd use. And also it may encourage me to do more pencil drawing. Perhaps. I say perhaps because I don't really know. Because I much prefer to just draw in pen and work with the mistakes, any mistakes I may make. But they shade nicely. I like the 4B. I find they feel a bit harder than the traditional graphite pencils. You know, as if you don't put as much graphite down. Obviously, it depends on how forceful you are with the graphite. Let's have a look here. Get some shady berries. I'm only going to do so much because this is not necessarily my favourite way of bringing things to life. It works, don't get me wrong, it does work. And just pop some shadow here. So I'm not going to fuss around too long because I'll have another extremely long video and there's only so long I think anybody can listen to me for. And there's so many videos out there of this. And anybody who's familiar with Zentangle will know about the shading and highlights. I think I'll try adding some this side on the outside again, so I get that sense of how, or that I get an idea of how that shadow will work to complete the edge of the branch, as it were. There. So that's as much as I'm going to do with the graphite pencils. I'm going to get my pot of Graphitints and various other bits and bobs out, because Graphitint is what I really particularly love. As it's autumn, let's go for, well, this one is actually called Autumn Brown. So let me have a look. I'm going to do this one just a bit different. I'm going to make the darkest part of these leaves here underneath that folded over bit. Now, the secret to using watercolour or water soluble pencils or media, watercolour, you know, sort of like like Tombows or the real brush pens, you know, brush pens, water soluble brush pens, is to work from the lightest area to the darkest, so you're pushing that colour backwards, back to where you want it. But you've got to activate some of the colour first, so I just activate the very, very edge of the colour, and then use that just to colour the lightest areas, because there's a lot of pigment in these. And then that's where I then start to, with this one I will pull that darker colour out just a little bit, but the colour brings these to life so much as well. The other thing you can do with the Graphitints is to use them like pans almost of watercolour, where you just take some colour off the edge of the pencil. You just put a piece of tissue paper off to the wrong side so you get to see my arm go across the screen, I try to be aware, and that just adds it in that kind of way. That's love. That really is love. Love this colour. This is my favourite colour. It's the one I use all the time. And I'm sure Derwent have open stock. Okie dokes, let's have a look for a different colour. Ooh, let's go for Aubergine. Ooh, yeah. Because this is another favourite one. Just add a tiny bit there. And perhaps what I'll do is use Aubergine on the ones that are uppermost. This is going to be a backwards round way because with colour theory and sort of, I say colour theory, it is kind of, is that the darker shade should go towards the back and the cooler colours. And if you put warmer and less saturated shades at the front, what it does is with the cooler and darker shades, they go backwards in the picture, and sometimes more muted backwards as well. It depends. Can never remember. And then the warmer and lighter colours, it increases their appearance of being forward. And if you look at landscapes, you know, out the window, you can see the colours are much more vibrant closer to you, and they become cooler and darker in tone the further away you look. And so you can replicate that in work. Obviously, I mean, I say obviously so much these days. I don't know why. I don't know where I've picked that bad habit up from. In the realms of Zentangle, we have it's non-representational. It's not meant to represent life. You know, sort of like the shadows and highlights are part of the pattern, which is great. It's, you know, it takes all the fuss and bother of trying to understand things like that out of whatever it is that you're creating. And I think it's a fantastic way to look at it. It's oh gosh, my pencils are alive. They're falling out of my hands here. But little tricks like that can, I suppose, can really help to enhance the pictures. So like here I've used the Aubergine for the front, and this is deep indigo or dark indigo? Dark indigo. For these other leaves that are behind them, and I don't know if that helps with that illusion of depth and sends the blue ones backwards. I may not have made them dark enough, but you know, I'm sticking with the idea that it works. And of course I can go and add shadows with graphite if I want to. That actually works quite nicely. Okay. On the other side, I'm going to use some green, and hopefully, have I got a darker green? Ocean blue is blue, shadow is a kind of bluey green. Strange name, Shadow. Oh, it's a bit of a sharpen as well. Okay, let's have a look, because I think they'll work. So I've put the darkest colour close to the central vein, and then, yeah, I've got some of that light green in my brush still, but it'll blend with the shadow that's underneath here. Shadow, the colour shadow, but it also gives that impression of a shadow underneath that line. Let me try this a different way and pop the darkest part of the green at that edge, and then pop shadow right underneath. And let's see how this works. Squeeze the brush a little moment. I hurt my thumb yesterday on my right hand. It was really painful last night, and I don't know how I did it, whether because it seemed to be painful after I've been doing some ink blending, distress ink blending on my paper, to complete this sketchbook with pages of colours. I had the last year's mini distress ink colour set arrived in the post, and I wanted to try the colours out, so I'll show you those quickly. But that's another way, I think, of adding shadow. Okay, let's go for the port wine, or port it's called. Okay, let's try this for the berries there. That berry anyway. One berry. Oh, I could make an awful pun. Yeah. Chuck it on the berry. As in Chuck Berry. So I've chucked some colour on the berry. Chuck Berry. Yeah. And what I'll do is I'll bring out some highlights with a white gel pen. But that works quite nicely. There's no really hugely bright and colourful, sorry for that. I needed a pencil sharpener. There's no really bright colours in the Graphite. I think there's some yellows in the paint pan set, which I did mean to dig out before I did this, but I didn't, so perhaps in tomorrow, or if I do something like this tomorrow. If I thought ahead, I don't do thinking ahead very well at all, has to be said. Right, I've got this one here to do. So I'm trying to keep all of the, or most of the colour at the bottom of these berries. So the bottom looks in shadow. These ones I haven't quite managed to get the colour there, but it'll work. Move it down towards the bottom with the brush. There. So that works okay, doesn't it? So the berries look great. Okay, let's head for a different brown colour. So there's quite a few in this set. I have to say that. This one's russet. So I'm going to add some russet, and then I'll find my much beloved autumn brown here. Let's fade one into another, because essentially, simply because I can. That makes a lovely, that's a lovely colour blend. That really does. Ooh. That is lovely. But the russet is more of a yellowy brown. So that's worked really nicely. There we are. I'm going to leave the other ones because I've got a whole page to do with this and variations, and anybody who knows my artwork from colouring books and so on knows that I have a wide vocabulary of leaves and foliage. It's one of my things, I think. The one thing I did want to do, where is it? Where are you, my beauty? That'll be quite nice. Is it? Nope. Oh, that's Aubergine. I didn't want Aubergine. Midnight Black. So I'm going to use Midnight Black up here for the shadow sheer. This is the Graphite one, because sometimes this is just the nicest way to add shadow. Really is. Get this lovely kind of painterly look, I suppose, as well. It blends with the distress ink in the background, so it will fade out a long way, which is quite fun to do. You get an interesting texture. That I quite like and work with. I am aware that if I do too much of this, I'll lose the underlying pattern that I've created on the paper using stencils and distress ink, which you should be able to see. There. So there's that. I've got my, or a jelly roll pen here. I seem to have a lot of these. I keep discovering things. I seem to ferret them away, Ferret means hide away, put away, you know. Put them somewhere safe. Put it by. That's a very Welshism. Put it by. I mean, put it away, put it by. Put it by in the cutch it away. All very Welsh sayings and phrases for put it safe or put it away. And cutch is a multi-purpose word, which I won't go into now, perhaps, but if you want to know, just mention it in a comment. There we are, just some highlights there. For this one, I'm going to highlight along the upper side of this, and on this leaf I'm going to highlight right along this edge. It's also along this edge, and I'm completely missing what I'm doing. For the berry, is putting dots where the highlights would be, where I want them. I'm not going to do all of them, but I don't know if that shows up. I haven't got didn't think to get a metallic pen out or anything, because these leaves would look quite lovely done in metallics. In fact, I might, because I can reach those really easily, because, oh, there we go. My new set as I throw something on the floor. Okay, let's have a look. These metallic pens are brilliant. Well, all the jelly roll pens are brilliant for this. I'm putting some colour down, and the metallics, perhaps, I say the metallics, I mean all the jelly roll pens can take a while to dry. But while this is dry, or still wet, I'm just going to spread some out. And what's more is, oh, what colour? Let's go for a lovely bright orangey red here. I'm sorry, you're getting my hands all over the place. If I lose these little black dots, I don't mind. Let's have a look and see. You can actually blend them, and this is such a lovely, this will be such a lovely finish. Actually, it's going to be absolutely lovely. I've got watercolour metallic paints here, but because they're not opaque. I keep meaning to consider getting some opaque gouache. I bought some, but they're in pots, and I misread the description, and they're really thick and gungy, and I'm not very happy with them. It's different, but that works. Oh, look at that. And the colour, I'll show you. As it catches the light, even though it's still wet, you can see it's going to be absolutely beautiful as it dries. That and a layer of clear glaze pen on the top would turn that into like a gem or a jewel. It'd be absolutely beautiful. I know, I get so excited about things like this. Excuse my arm again. But I did invest in a new set of metallic jelly rolls a little while ago. So let's try this on the next pen. Yeah, I was going to finish ages ago. I kept saying, oh, enough, I've done now. Leave it here. No, we're not going to leave it there at all, are we? Oh, you know me well. I'm sure you could actually layer these colours one on top of another as well, if you wanted to. I'm absolutely positive that's a possibility as well, once they dry. Haven't tried that. Next job. But as they do take a little while to dry, I'm not going to have the opportunity to try that today, but that, I'm chuffed. I'm happy. I cannot tell you how happy I am. That has worked better than I expected. Oh boy, have I got new tricks to try. I'm far better than any, because I love metallics. Bring it up so you can see, hopefully. I think I've got the autofocus locked. But there you go. Absolutely lovely. You have to, if you've got these, you've got to try it. I'm just telling you now, just try it. I'm just going to leave the others, and I'm going to play with this, and I'm going to lose myself in it, and I'm not going to get any work done for adorable dogs today, I doubt. Maybe I will. because I'll get fed up of this eventually, as in not totally fed up, as in I've done enough, or this is all samey, or I just need to do something else. And of course today it's really windy out, it keeps raining. We had really, really heavy rain last night, and so it's not a day to go out exploring really, or work. I say exploring, going out for a walk and exploring the world. I can see the colours changing and I really don't want to miss autumn, but I think this rain's due to blow over through the day, so we'll see. I keep saying I'm going to go out. Anybody who knows me, I often say I'm going to try to go out today, and I do, I mean it. I'm going to try to go out, and it comes to going out and I open the door and it's almost like I turn around and run back inside. I have social anxiety. I've had it all my life, and there are times where I've improved, or perhaps where I wasn't as aware of how bad it can get. The past year and a half with lockdowns and staying home and not going out and having social bubbles. Well, I didn't have a social bubble because everybody I know was bubbled up, and I'm quite comfortable on my own, to be honest with you, and that has shown me how I can live without that anxiety. At home I have no anxiety, most of the time, unless something's coming up like an appointment or whatever. I've got to make an appointment with the opticians because I'm due for a checkup, and I need to do the same with the dentist, and the anxiety in just making those appointments will creep up on me, so I have to sort of sneak up on myself. And but then going out for them, it can throw me for days, absolute days. So it's something that I do need to do, and I'm aware of this, but I just have to catch myself at the right time, so I actually do it without becoming so overwhelmed by it I end up in bed because I've overstressed myself. So anyway, so I do have big problems with this from time to time. And most of the time I'm oblivious to it. It's when I go out of the house and when there are people around, and particularly if there's lots of people. I've always had problems in crowds and crowded places. I get very panicky and overwhelmed and hypervigilant. And it's more pronounced now because I've had such an extended period of time where I haven't felt that way, where it's not normal to me to feel that way. I think that's the thing I'm trying to say, is that a lack of anxiety is now normal for me, whereas before it would be something unusual. And I'm finding it hard to cope with that anxiety. But I've got over it before, and I can do again. Or I've found ways to cope, and I know how to cope with it. It's just doing it, because if that anxiety overwhelms me first, I can't do things, and it's catching myself unawares almost. So I might say, I'm going to go out, but then when it comes to doing that, I've thought about it so much I just can't do it. Anyway, I'm wittering on, but anybody who experiences this, who this or any other kind of mental ill health, will understand what it's like, is that it's learning to manage it. And I'm in a lot better place now than I have been for the whole of my life. And I'm not just talking about in the last few months, I'm talking about the last number of years. And I really don't want to go backwards either. And I think that's part of it as well. I feel like I have, but I haven't really. It's, but anyway, I've wittered on far longer than I wanted to. But I hope you've enjoyed this little look. Oh, I said I was going to show you the new colours as well. Now this is gone. There are some lovely ones. There's a really bright pink in here, which is Kitsch Flamingo, I think it is. And it is highly bright and colourful and pink. The darker colour is preserved, Seedless Preserve. Two distress inks, and I've used To get this background pattern, I used stencil and a baby wipe to take colour off rather than put colour on, because these are quite dark. This one, the darker orange is, oh, it's something campfire. Do you think I can remember the name of it? Must be joking. Crackling Campfire, I think it is. And it's a lovely red orange, so it fills a gap nicely. This blue is Robin's Egg. It's absolutely lovely. It's a greyish blue, a dusty blue. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the last one is a green, and it is the greener green, not yellowy green, was forest moss. The other one is something wilderness, wild wilderness, or open will, something wilderness, and it's lovely. Again, it's a green that fills a gap in. It's not a yellowy sort of like or grey green, and it's not a blue green. It's just a nice sort of like, it's a woodland green really. So really nice. Anyway, so I've whittled on, I've shown you those. We'll go back to this. Thanks to Debbie New for a lovely pattern, and I shall see you tomorrow, hopefully, as I look back. In fact, I think I'm going to do the last 2 days. Shall I? I'll look back over my last week in art anyway, and perhaps Monday I'll do a retrospective of all of my Inktober pages, because that could be interesting. Anyway, take care, look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.